and take that third seed.
You mentioned Ruby Malin. She made the Pac-12 All-First Team, as did 3 Arizona Wildcats. Dakota Kennedy on that list, along with Ali Skaggs and Regan Shockey. You were pretty shocked that Regan was not Freshman of the Year.
I was very shocked. She's one of the best freshmen in the country. That she's not the Pac-12 pick as the best freshman. I thought it was no contest. And even the way they've been voting every week as far as freshman of the week, she was, far and away one more of those. So it kind of led you to believe that they were seeing that from her as well. And then when you look at her, she's like the 3rd best freshman in the country in batting average. She leads the team in hits. It's just on down the line. She's one of the best in the country. I don't see why that decision was made at all.
Is it? Do you think, though, because, when you look at Caitlin Terry and what she did as a freshman this year in the circle, do you think that, I would think that maybe weighed a lot on people's minds for a freshman to come in and be that dominant right off the bat, probably sent some people in that direction in terms of their voting?
I think maybe, and also because UCLA won the conference, so she had an impact on them taking first. So that is probably the thing that weighs most in her favor, is how well her team did, and that she was such an important cog in making that happen.
We had Taylor Beal. We had a chance to talk to her earlier this week as well. She was named Co-Defensive Player of the Year. A couple of really good sophomores there in that position, as she shared that with, Paige Sinicki's actually a junior, but a couple of pretty nice shortstops there sharing that honor. And where do you think Taylor, in terms of her defense, we haven't seen a lot of really great defensive shortstops recently here at Arizona. Where do you think she'll eventually slot in terms of the history of this program in that position?
She's going to be probably one of the best 3 or 4, I think, because she's just, the plays she makes them look easy. It's not just that she makes these great plays, it's that she makes them look like they should happen all the time. That's what's so impressive about Taylor, and that she does it at such a young age. And also when you've got the kind of skill she does, that you can play right field and you can be the backup catcher, and then you can go to shortstop and you can do that. There are few players of her caliber on defense, I believe. Arizona had great defenders, but infield defense is something different. It's so difficult, especially there at shortstop, and she just makes it look so easy.
2 years in a row, Arizona's had the Defensive Player of the Year in the Pac-12, with Ali Skaggs, the airless season last year, having won it. Do you think this is the best middle infield in program history?
It could be, absolutely. And the thing about Ali last year is that the year before, she had some games that she had a couple errors. She would go off on defense once in a while. And she just put her mind to making that part of her game as good as the offensive part of her game. And that's what's so impressive about Skaggs. And I do think it's probably the best that we've seen, especially recently. I don't think there's been a tandem like that. There may be one weaker than the other in most recent tandems, but this pair is outstanding.
Hallie Wilson, Kelly Fox, Caitlin Lowe also on that list of Wildcats who have won Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. Chatting with Kym Das from AZ Desert Swarm. It's the Pac-12 softball tournament this week in Palo Alto. Kym, do you know how this became the venue this year, why they decided to have it at Stanford?
What I heard is it was cost effective because that's where conference headquarters are. Last year they had to send people down here, to help run it. and they're already there, so it's just cost effectiveness.
Don't want to pay all those hotel rooms, huh?
Right. And flights, and yeah.
So then this Arizona team, in your mind, what's the key to them winning this single elimination event?
I really think the middle of the order has to be on. They've been a little up and down this year, and when the bottom of the order and the top of the order are both getting on, you've got to have that production in the middle. That's why they're there, And I also think that, Silva's got to be effective in a lot of innings. She's got to carry the load. She's far and away their best pitcher, and she's got to be locked in. But Arizona has to win right now. The way they're built, they have to win on offense. So probably that middle of the order is the biggest key.
Do you think this team will host in the regionals?
No. I thought maybe if they had won that series in UCLA, they had a chance. But I thought for a few weeks that they were probably out of the running for hosting. I would love to be surprised because I would love to be at regionals. But I don't think so. I think that there's just too many other teams fighting for it right there, and Arizona's record isn't quite where the others are.
Yeah. Will remain to see exactly where they head then. Again, this is a program under Kaylin Lowe that has shown that they can go out onto the road and play really well as well when they get to that round, as they did the couple years ago when they were able to get to the College World Series. Kym, have fun in Palo Alto this week, and we'll look forward to talking to you again as the postseason is upon us.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
Maya Brady was the Pac-12 Player of the Year for a second consecutive season, the niece of NFL great Tom Brady. Stanford's Najari Kanadi was tabbed the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year this year. Kelly Inouye Perez, the head coach at UCLA, was your Pac-12 Coach of the Year for a second straight year. Arizona begins play tomorrow against Washington. There is a game tonight. It is the 8-9 game. It will start at 7 o'clock. You can watch it on the Pac-12 network. Number 8 seed Oregon State, number 9 seed Arizona State will play for the right to take on UCLA tomorrow in the third game of the day. First game tomorrow will be Oregon against Utah, the 3-6 game. 2-7, Stanford, the home team, against California. And then UCLA, the number 1, will play the winner of that Oregon State-Arizona State game. And then the final game tomorrow night at 6:30 will be Washington against Arizona. Again, we will not carry any of those games on radio this weekend. You will have to watch them on the Pac-12 network. ESPN2 will carry the semifinals. So the first round only on the Pac-12 network, and then the ESPN networks will carry the semifinals on Friday and the finals on Saturday. DK on the Sports Tip, that is our show. We're having some technical issues on our stream, so bear with us there. We lost it, and now, of course, my camera is all white.
Bear down with us?
Yeah, bear down with us for sure. Because we are going to talk some swimming in the next hour. We're going to try to figure out what has happened to the Arizona Wildcats swimming and diving programs. Just 16 years ago, national champions in both men's and women's sports. This year, they have let their coach go after the women scored no points at the NCAAs, and the Wildcat men finished 27th. Coleman Hodges from Swim Swam will join us. It's DK on the Sports Tip. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. A Sunrise Drive east of Pontotoc. Crash there. Westbound backups on Sunrise Drive. Approaching Pontotoc. Valencia and Camino de Oeste. Westbound backups on Valencia at Camino de Oeste. Also reported Speedway near Cole Road, Ajo Highway in Kinney. Also River Road and Craycroft. 58 the low, clear skies, 86 and sunny tomorrow. 88 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hey, DQ fans, cool off with their new Summer Blizzard treat menu. Try new Picnic Peach Cobbler or snag a perfect beach treat like their new Peanut Butter Cookie Dough Party. The new Summer Blizzard treat menu is one you won't want to miss. Only at participating DQ locations. Happy tastes good.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. You know who I'm not talking about, who I should be talking about? The OKC Thunder. And it's not that it's out of disrespect. It's just that they're making it look too easy. We're talking about a team that still has not lost a game in the playoffs, despite being the youngest team in the playoffs. In fact, they're the youngest team to ever win a round in any NBA playoffs. They're the youngest team to ever rip a 1 seed. And the thing is, they don't really look like it. They don't really play like it. They don't have the vibe of being a bunch of neophytes or noobs. These dudes are serious, especially defensively. They look like a bunch of hardened, grizzled vets. Ask Luka and the Mavs. They found out last night, I'm no doctor, but I don't need to be to know that my man is having a hard time on that bum knee. And if he's not right, they're all wrong, and this could be a very short series. So this is me putting respect on OKC.
Improve visibility and save $8 instantly when you pick up a new pair of Bosch Icon wiper blades in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Bosch Icon wiper blades have up to a 40% longer life than other premium wiper blades. The professional parts people will even install them for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Free! Who doesn't love free? With Milo's Rewards, you get the member-only treatment that's actually worth it. Enjoy free member gifts you'll love. And once you reach Silver Key status, you can get free standard shipping. Because Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Learn more about our new loyalty program at Lowe's.com/Milo's Rewards today. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for details. Member gifts may be subject to additional terms and restrictions. See Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details. Subject to change.
This just in, Goodfellas AC is matching up to $2,000 on federal tax credit.
Whoa, seriously? This is unbelievable. I gotta call Floyd at Goodfellas.
Hello, Goodfellas. Floyd speaking.
Is it true about the $2,000?
It sure is. Homeowners like you may qualify for a 30% federal tax credit up to $2,000 on qualifying heat pumps. And Goodfellas will match the tax credit dollar for dollar up to $2,000. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas.
Desperate buyers have created tremendous opportunity for sellers. If you've had the slightest thought of selling your home, it's time to call Sean Poston with the Poston Results Team at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Why choose the Poston Results Team? Past performance, more money in your pocket, over a 65% referral rate, an incredible Poston Results Team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Poston Results Team. When buying and selling really mattered, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what?
Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket, getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
All right, the first move of the Desiree Reed Francois era on the coaching side took place late in the day on Friday when it was announced that swimming coach Augie Bush would not be returning for an 8th season here at the University of Arizona. It is something that we had talked about extensively over the course of the last month. The state of Arizona Wildcats swimming, how the program has essentially fallen off a cliff in the last 6 or 7 years or so. No points scored by the women at the NCAA championships this year, and the men finishing a dismal 27th overall. Pleased to be joined by Coleman Hodges from Swim Swam. If you don't follow Swim Swam, you need to. They are the utmost online publication in terms of swimming here in the United States, from the best high school prospects all the way up to what's happening with your U.S. national team. And Coleman, we appreciate you taking some time to join us and kind of give us a national perspective on our program right now here in Tucson. How did U of A get to this place? I mean, I got here literally like a few months into the summer of 2008 off the heels of both the men and the women winning national championships in the same year. But 16 years later, this program does not even look anything like what it did back when Frank Bush was running it then.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk swimming. But yeah, I think it's kind of it's been a long time, right? Frank Bush left in 2011. He took the job of director of the U.S. national team when he left Arizona in 2011. And since then, they've kind of had a hard time in terms of head coaches. They had one head coach who wasn't even there for 2 full seasons, and in Eric Hansen. And he came from Wisconsin in the fall of 2011, but then by 2013, he took an unexpected leave of absence from the team, eventually resigning. Then they tabbed longtime assistant Rick DeMont to head the program. He was there for 4 years. I think he did a decent job, but he ended up retiring after his 4th season. And he had been with Arizona in some capacity for 30 years. So he had given a lot to that program, but it seemed like it was just kind of his time. And then they end up hiring Augie Bush, Frank Bush's son, who had coached alongside Frank and Rick DeMont in Arizona from 2003 to 2011. So the last 8 years that Frank, Augie's dad, was the head coach there. And then in his 7 seasons, like you said, he was not able to find a lot of success. But I think it's just hard going through that much turnover, going through 3 head coaches in the span of 5 or 6 seasons. You need that consistency to build greatness, to build national titles like you saw Frank winning. And he was there from 89 to 2011, over 20 seasons, over 20 years. And Augie, I think for a few different reasons from the outside, it didn't seem like a good fit there. Augie was a volleyball player, so he never actually swam. And I don't think you have to be a great swimmer to be a great swim coach, but I think culturally the 2 sports are obviously different, and I think the amount of swim coaches who were not swimmers themselves, it has to be less than 1%, because you gain an inherent knowledge of the sport by doing it, at any level. It doesn't have to be you don't have to be an Olympian to be an Olympic coach. Many aren't. But I think that there's probably a disconnect there that makes it a little harder to connect with your athletes and to just form a bond and to be able to accurately say, I know what you're going through right now, and here's how I'm going to help. And so I'm guessing that disconnect probably just builds a wall, right? If you're coaching an athlete and you think you know what they're going through, but you actually don't, then you're probably going to react to it differently and maybe in a less effective way than if you actually do know what they're going through. Because swimming at its core, is a grind. You're looking at a black line early in the morning at 5:30 a.m. And you're doing that for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon for 6 days a week. And it's not always very fun to train for. And so you have to have someone who understands your plight, who understands what you're going through and the amount of work, dedication, and sacrifice you're putting in, so that you can feel appreciated, so that you can feel seen in what is often kind of these dark and ominous training blocks.
Coleman Hodges from Swim Swam is our guest, talking about the state of the Arizona Wildcats swimming program as Augie Bush has been let go by new AD Desiree Reed Francois. So, Coleman, how is this program viewed nationally? Is this a good job? Are there going to be a lot of top candidates that want to come here to Tucson?
Yeah, I think so. And I think there's a few reasons for that. Obviously, people still look at Arizona and think about the legacy that Frank Bush left, right? They think of Arizona and think that program can win national titles, because all you need to do is see it to believe it. And we've already seen it. And even though it was over a decade ago that they won national titles, it is still viewed as having that potential. And especially with the Arizona State men's swimming team just winning their first national title in program history this season, you're going to have competition, but you know that the state of Arizona can get it done and can compete at the highest level on the national and, for that matter, international stage. If you're talking Olympics or World Championships. So I think this is a good job. I think it will attract a high level of head coach candidate. And I think that you mentioned the new AD, and I think they're going to try to kind of get away from this Bush legacy, just because, again, in recent years, it has not brought very much success to the swim team. And with a new AD, I think they just kind of want a fresh start, and someone who maybe isn't, certainly not keeping it in the family, but maybe not even within the coaching tree. We wrote an article about potential candidates to who might get this job, and there were a lot of coaches who coached under Frank Bush who are now associate or head coaches at fairly prominent programs. And I think the biggest name of there is Greg Rodenbaugh, who coached under Frank Bush for 11 seasons from 1999 to 2010. So he was there during that championship run and while they had so much success. Rodenbaugh is an SMU alum, so Southern Methodist, and he is now the men's head coach at SMU. So I think it would be a big sell to get him to Arizona, because I've visited there. I've spoken with him. He has alumni backing there, and he obviously has very deep roots in Dallas and at SMU. And so I think it might be hard getting him away from there. But for someone who is not as entrenched, the Arizona job is also looking pretty good, because they are moving conferences right now. The Pac-12 is essentially dissolved, and they'll be going to the Big 12. And there are quite a few swim teams now. 2 years ago, the only men's teams in the Big 12 were Texas, TCU, and West Virginia. And Texas is a complete swimming powerhouse, and the other two are not. So it was a very uncompetitive conference. But now you have teams like BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and then ASU and Arizona, among others. And so it's going to be a little more competitive. But if you can go in there and really build a powerhouse team, you're going to have a very good shot at winning conference titles. because a lot of those other schools, aside from Arizona and Arizona State, are not traditional Power 5 schools, and therefore they are not going to be able to draw the kind of athlete that an Arizona or an Arizona State will. I will talk about one other potential candidate who coincidentally is also currently coaching at his alma mater. His name's Bobby Genturo. You might want to keep your eyes out for him as this coaching search continues. He went to UNC Wilmington. He swam there, had success. He most recently was an assistant coach at NC State. He was their sprint coach and led them to a lot of success, including some relay national titles. And then he got offered the head coaching position at his alma mater, UNC Wilmington, where he's been the head coach for 4 seasons. But I think he is absolutely ready to take a step. And if he's willing to leave his alma mater, I think this Arizona job would be a really good fit for him.
Coleman Hodges from Swim Swam is our guest, talking Arizona Wildcats swimming. The U of A looking for a new head coach for their swimming program. Let me ask you this. Obviously, swimming and diving are somewhat clumped together, but also very separate at times in terms of how they fit within university structures. What needs to be the continuity between the head swimming coach and the head diving coach?
So in many swimming and diving programs, they're pretty much separate. I think it's, technically, if you go by rank, the head swimming coach is the head coach of swimming and diving. They're lumped together. But how it traditionally works is the head swimming coach will bring in a head diving coach, and then they're the head diving coach. They're going to do their own thing, and the swim coach has pretty much leaves them alone. So they don't practice together. It's the diving part of any traditional aquatics facility is usually kind of separate, or at least practices at separate times than the swimming part of the team and the facility. And so in regards to that, they're essentially 2 separate teams. And you see a lot of swimmers and divers socialize together. I think socially and culturally, a lot of teams view it as one team, which makes it fun. It makes it great. Diving teams are typically very small. You have anywhere between 2 and 5 divers per gender on a team. So it's like they are they're fairly independent and they kind of move on their own. But at a competition, and even at dual meets, the diving takes place before the swimming does. And so often they're not even viewed at the same time, except if it's a conference championships or an NC2A championships. But again, socially and culturally, they're a lot more intermingled. But from a training perspective and from a logistical perspective, from a training perspective, they're pretty separate. Diving and swimming don't really mix because it is 2 completely separate sports, and there's no real in between besides water. They both happen in water, but that's about it.
We're chatting with Coleman Hodges. Coleman, I have a few more questions for you, so we're going to hold you over through the break here. He's with Swim Swam, talking Arizona Wildcats swim program. The Wildcats looking for a new head coach. We'll continue our conversation with Coleman Hodges, but first, we've got to get you home safely every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Slowdowns westbound I-10 approaching Ruthroff. Also some backups on westbound Speedway Boulevard approaching I-10. Collisions, Sunrise Drive east of Pontotoc. Westbound backups on Sunrise Drive approaching Pontotoc. Valencia and Camino de Oeste for an earlier wreck and westbound slowing there. 58 the low with clear skies, 86 and sunny tomorrow and 86 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Toys. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even same day. And now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchase of $150 or more. Offer N61. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
Here at O'Reilly Chevrolet, we want to thank you, Tucson, for helping us celebrate 100 years of serving our community. And we want to thank the Tucson Fire Department for helping us put out the cape.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
We return now to Eugene Snarkle, UberTube video star, and his best friend Doug.
Eugene, what happened to just buying a new set of tires at Jack Furrier's?
Way too easy, Doug.
Yes, Eugene. Jack Furrier's makes buying tires easy. So what's up with all the rubber cement and electrical tape? And why are you putting it all over your tires?
It's basic science, Doug. This Uber hack should give me another 6 months on these old treads and make me locally world famous on UberTubes.
So you'll be risking your life and your reputation.
Yes, Doug. It's all for my UberTube fans.
Well, could you at least wait a week before you try driving up Mount Lemon?
At Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, we make buying tires easy. Our local warehouse is filled with thousands of great options, all at one low price. If you need tires for your passenger car, truck, SUV, van, 4x4, RV, boat, or UTV, call us or go online to jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo from May 4th through the 11th at Nana's Kitchen, where everyone is treated like family. Located just north of Cortero off Arizona Pavilions Drive. Enjoy authentic Sonoran cuisine and award-winning cocktails. Nana's Kitchen also has a private selection of spirits and beer. As part of their Cinco de Mayo celebration, enjoy $5 Reposado shots with Herradura, along with $5 805 cerveza pints, 2 for $5 bottles of Corona, Corona Light, Dos Equis, Pacifico, Modelo, and $5 Corazon Margaritas. Life is always good with some CNS. You know, chips and salsa. You can never go wrong with their tacos, chimichangas, or burritos. Make that burrito enchilada style. Why not? Nana's Kitchen is always serving up amazing Mexican food made with love, straight from Nana's heart. That's Nana's Kitchen. See you soon.
And this Friday, we have a sweet deal for you from Nana's Kitchen. You can get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. And this sweet deal will go on sale this Friday morning at 8:30 at WildcatsRadio1290.com.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports, sponsored by Kohl's. Let's head over to the WNBA and check in with the two-time defending champion Las Vegas Aces. They'll open their season next Tuesday against the Phoenix Mercury. The Aces are led by third-year head coach Becky Hammon, who was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame last year. On the floor, Vegas is led by Asia Wilson and Kelsey Plum. The champs are going to need some help this season from the rookies, including second-round pick Kate Martin out of Iowa. Martin hasn't been in Vegas long, but she's making a great impression, especially on Kelsey Plum.
She's an amazing sponge, and I think Becky nicknamed her Kate Money Martin. So I think that's going to stick because she really is. And when I say money, it's not just about like scoring and stuff. She's just in the right place in the right time, and she just makes people better. And that's what Becky values. That's what our coaching staff values, and that's why she's gonna be a great asset to our team.
With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Amber Theo Harris on Westwood One.
PSA for anyone who's not the best at remembering dates. Mother's Day is May 12th. Luckily, finding something she'll love is easy. Just go to Kohl's. I got a Sephora fragrance set for $35. Then with the extra 20% off, I scored cute PJs for just $19.99 and jewelry for under $30. Plus, I earned Kohl's Cash and found even more great prices across the store. Yep, it doesn't get better than Kohl's. Select styles. Offers end May 12th. Coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply to Sephora. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. And look at you, hands perfectly placed on the wheel. Not like the driver to the right of you who's really going after that drum solo. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we're back with Coleman Hodges from Swim Swam, online swimming publication. They cover everything from the best high school athletes in the pool to obviously our U.S. national teams as well. Coleman, a couple things. In terms of Arizona, we've got the Hillenbrand Aquatics facility here. We were talking about both the swimming and the diving aspects of that. How does this facility rank nationwide?
I think it's a desirable facility for a few different reasons. I wouldn't say it's top tier, just because it is older, and a lot of facilities now, you see this happen all the time with football fields, with basketball arenas, right? You just see universities dropping millions and millions of dollars on the state-of-the-art kind of facilities. And many times that has happened with pools in the last decade as well. And so it's not what you would call the nicest facility just in terms of how pristine everything is. However, any swimmer knows that swimming outside is, especially year round, is just far more enjoyable than swimming inside. And University of Arizona's diving and swimming facility is an outdoor facility. And so I think that's really alluring to a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid who's looking at, okay, what's my swimming future going to look like? Especially if they're just thinking, I'm going to swim in college, I'm going to get my education, and then I'm going to go out into the workforce, go have the rest of my life. How do I want to spend these 4 years in college, especially if I'm in Arizona already, probably used to swimming outside? I'm not going to want to go spend, again, 20 hours a week inside an indoor pool that can oftentimes kind of feel like a dungeon, where there's not a lot of natural light coming in. And again, it's early in the morning. 5:30 to 7:30 workouts are very commonplace. And so just the fact that you have the option to swim outside, to be in the outdoors, to look up at the sky when you're going through the hardest part of your week physically, the most taxing, probably even the most mentally challenging parts of your week are when you're pushing your body to the limit. And so to be able to do that in an environment that feels comfortable and that feels nurturing to you, that feels natural to you, instead of being at an indoor pool where the chlorine levels are high, you might leave there coughing or, having itchy eyes. And so to me, you can really put a premium on having an outdoor facility. Again, it's not the newest renovation, the newest model, it hasn't seen the most money put into it. But I think for a high school kid who's looking at their options, I do think it's a desirable location in that sense.
It's interesting, as someone who myself couldn't swim to save their life, I thought we categorized it very early on in our interview about how you spend hours staring at a black line. I never even really thought of it in that nature with the black line at the bottom of the pool, how that's essentially, what the swimmers are looking at as they're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Very interesting from that perspective. Obviously, Arizona has been a place that has produced a ton of Olympians. Not too many lately, unfortunately. Going back to Kevin Cordes and most recently in the diving specter of Delaney Schnell. I want to ask you about Delaney Schnell and Jessica Parado, who are out here training right now. What are their prospects of making a second straight Olympic team?
I mean, yeah, I think their chances are really good. Delaney Schnell has had a lot of success at the NC2A level. And I think in swimming and diving, we see that carry over from the college ranks into the Olympic ranks. She's already done it once. She's a multi-time international medalist. She won a silver medal at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo for the 10-meter synchro event. She's won 4 medals at World Championships, most recently in 2023 in Fukuoka last summer. She won a bronze again in the 10-meter synchro. And so, and she's been in Arizona for quite a while. She's comfortable in this environment and training there. And so I think her chances are very good at being able to represent Team USA once again in Paris this coming summer. She's had, since winning that medal in Tokyo 3 years ago, she's had a great trajectory. She medaled at both World Championships in 2022 and 2023. And that's kind of what you want to see in the lead up to an Olympic Games. You want to have momentum, especially going into that final year, that final stretch, because everyone in an Olympic sport feels it those last 12 months. You kind of feel the switch come on when it's like, okay, it's only a year away until these Olympic Games. And then the closer and closer you get, the more and more it just starts to become a reality. You start to feel, you're not feeling pressure all the time, but it's almost an excitement. A lot of athletes describe it that way. And so it seems like she has good momentum heading into these Olympic Games. And so, I'd say her chances are good. She's looking good.
Coleman Hodges joining us, Swam Magazine, talking Arizona Wildcats swimming and swimming and diving nationally. Coleman, I wanted to ask you, in terms of, obviously we're dealing with a lot with NIL and the transfer portal. How is that affecting swimming and diving programs here in the United States?
I think it's affecting all sports, and so for swimming specifically, we're seeing athletes jump around, and I think that's kind of the culture now. It's sort of been established, and I think in a lot of cases, I think it's a good thing, especially as you see athletes committing to schools at a younger and younger age. It used to be your senior year rolls around, you go on your college visits, you see what you like, you commit in the fall, and then a year later you're there. And I think that system kind of made sense. But now we're seeing not only kids taking college visits and committing to schools a year prior to that in the fall of their junior year, but like the best ones are committing even sooner than that, the fall of their sophomore year, spring of their sophomore year. And who knows who they are when they're 16 years old, it's such a formative time, and you change so much as a person from ages 16 now. They could have gotten, as we're talking about now, they could have gotten a new coach in the last 5 months, 12 months. The team could be in a completely different place. And so they're just, I think having the freedom to use that transfer portal and to have some leeway to say, okay, this isn't what I had expected, or things have completely changed. I think there's a better fit for me out there. I think it's a good thing, but swimmers are certainly using it, and I think taking advantage of the fact that they can have the freedom to explore other schools if they're not feeling good about where they're at right now. We're also seeing a lot of, so the COVID-19 pandemic started in 2020, and then the NCAA basically said, I don't know if this is for every sport, but I know for swimming, they said the 2020-2021 athletic season basically doesn't count. Like, everyone can compete in this season, but it won't count towards eligibility. So everyone gets an extra year, essentially. And so how we've seen that play out in swimming is that a lot of swimmers are finishing their senior year, whenever that may have been for them, be it 2021, 22, 23, 24, and then they'll hop in the transfer portal and go to a program and swim a fifth year and do a master's program. and whether that's at the school that they did their undergrad, or they'll get in the transfer portal and find a new fit where they want to go get a master's degree. And then they can have another year to swim, to compete, to do the sport they love and that they've, probably been doing their whole life. And so I think that's been a very unique situation and a positive that's come out of the COVID pandemic, is just giving those athletes one more opportunity to compete, to be at their best, and to do so while pursuing higher education, getting whether it's a certificate or a master's degree, just getting more opportunities that way. Specifically, one example we've seen in Arizona is one of Arizona's, he was an individual NCAA qualifier. He swam on Arizona's relays. He's a great sprint talent. His name's Tommy Palmer. We're seeing him travel from Arizona to Arizona State, unfortunately, for the Wildcats, just because both schools are seeing coaching changes right now. Obviously from Arizona, Augie Bush is out, and so there's a lot of uncertainty there about what's going to happen next and who the leadership will be. At ASU, Bob Bowman just left for Texas, and you had associate head coach Herbie Bames step in, who's an ASU alum. And so I think that was solved much more quickly, and so there's a little more security there. And so that's one result of the transfer portal just in the state of Arizona specifically. And then in terms of NIL, I think it's really it's done a good thing for many athletes who are prominent, especially on the world stage. It's allowed them to have suit sponsorships and to receive money from people who want to help them out. It's there for the top 5% and pretty non-existent for everyone else in swimming. And I think that's how professionally swimming is as well. So you do really have to earn it. But for those who have been to the top or who have been able to ascend to the top, the NIL money is creeping into swimming, and it is allowing swimmers to cash in on what they're doing collegiately and athletically.
Coleman Hodges from Swam is our guest. All right, Coleman, you said Bobby Guntaro from UNC Wilmington is a possibility, you think. Give me maybe, if you were a betting man, who do you think gets this job?
We heard Bobby's name come up, and I really like that option right now. Again, we put out an article, and there's a few people who coached under Frank Bush who seem like they could make this run or make it happen. Dave Rollins, who's the head coach at Florida Gulf Coast University right now. Whitney Height, who's the associate head coach at the University of Florida. And then I mentioned Greg Rodenbaugh at the top, who's the head men's coach at SMU right now. I think all three of those are certainly potential candidates. I don't know whether all of them would be interested or not, but again, we heard Bobby Guntaro's name, and I really like him because that would be truly a fresh start for Arizona. He's a young and up-and-coming coach. He brings a lot of energy to the deck, and he's a sprint coach, which means that he's going to focus on relays first and foremost and building a team culture that's kind of based around speed, which attracts a lot of positive attention to your team. People are going to want to go there if they know you're swimming short and fast.
All right, Coleman Hodges from SwimSam. Coleman, once this all gets situated out, I'd love to have you back and get your thoughts on the way that Arizona decides to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to talk. Thanks so much for having me today.
All right, that was Coleman Hodges from SwimSam. Great to have him on the program and breaking down Arizona Wildcats swimming. Much more still ahead, but first we got to make sure you get home safely. Cricket is here to do just that with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With reported collisions clearing Valencia and Camino de Oeste, some slowing there mostly on westbound Valencia at Camino de Oeste. Sunrise Drive east of Pontotoc. Got backups on westbound Speedway Boulevard approaching I-10. Westbound I-10 approaching Ruthroff is busy. 58 clear skies overnight, 86 sunny tomorrow, and 85 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Taco Bell's new Cravings Value Menu is a big deal, or rather, it's 10 big deals. From new items like the loaded nachos to familiar favorites like the spicy potato soft taco. Check it out at a participating Taco Bell today. Available for a limited time only while supplies last.
Thank you for calling Alaskan AC. Now.
Thank you for calling Alaskan AC. Now.
Hey guys, what are you...
Gotta take this. Thank you for calling Alaskan AC. Now.
Thank you for... Uh-huh. Right. You don't say. Uh-huh. Now.
Hold it. What's with all the nows?
People want to know the best time for an elastification.
And you're telling them...
Hello? Now.
Well, there's no bad time for elastification, but the best time is now.
Pretty soon, Arizona temps are going to put a strain on your AC.
Now is really the best time.
You're not telling people about all the money they save?
Now.
Or how Alaskan AC will make their AC last longer?
Now.
Or the big 1-year guarantee that their AC will not break down?
Thank you for calling Alaskan AC. Well, Ron wants to tell you a bunch of stuff. I know. That's kind of what I told him. Okay, thanks. Oh, by the way, now.
The best time for an elastification is...
now.
Schedule at AlaskanAC.com. Now.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Being stuck in a bad timeshare can be overwhelming, straining your finances, your health, and even family relationships. I know because everyday families call us for help, stressed to no end because of a timeshare they were misled into buying and can't even use. Some people even get second jobs or come out of retirement just to pay for fees that go on forever. I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help good folks out of bad timeshare deals. And our mission is working. To date, we've helped over 40,000 families achieve timeshare freedom. Give me a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free exit info kit. 800-626-7171. 800-626-7171. 800-626-7171.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus free home delivery when you add an adjustable base. Ends Sunday. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Taylor Swift.
It's not too late for you to experience the Eras. Taylor brings the tour back to the U.S. this fall, and we put you in the running to see her in style. Win one of 3 trips to see Taylor Swift, including round-trip air, 2 nights hotel, $500 spending cash, and 2 of the hottest tickets on the planet.
Welcome to the Eras Tour.
This is it. This is our last live last live keyword of the Taylor Swift promotion, which ends on Friday. You know how this works if you've been listening to DK on the Sports Tip. The short code number, you're going to text a keyword to the short code number. This is not 7 digits, it's 5. 95819, 95819. And I'm about to give you that keyword to text right now. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the keyword?
I'm so ready.
I just gave it to you.
Ready.
Ready. How about that? Ready is your keyword to text to 95819. Are you ready for it? I think that's my new favorite song. Baby, let the games begin. Let the games begin. Let the games begin. My God. Ready. Text 95819 right now. Your chance to win 2 tickets to see Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour in New Orleans this fall, October. Round trip airfare for 2 nights hotel stay. 2 tickets to the show, $500 in cash. Again, this is our last live keyword. There'll be 8 more keywords for tomorrow. 1 between 6 and 9, 1 between 9 and 12, 1 between 12 and 3, 1 between 3 and 7, and 4 on Wednesday, or for Friday, sorry. Between 6, 9, 9, 12, 12, 3, 3, 7. But you got to listen for the commercial right here on Wildcats Radio 1290 for your final chances to win a chance to go see Taylor Swift and the Eras Tour this October in New Orleans, courtesy of Wildcats Radio 1290.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, before we final stages of the show, I want to go back. We were talking a little bit about what's happening on the prep scene this week, and I want to update you on some of those happenings as we've got the road to the state finals is getting towards the end. I'm going to start with, I mentioned volleyball last night. ALL Queen Creek knocked off Cienega. Cienega was the team that went the furthest on the boys indoor volleyball side. Now, 1A baseball, Desert Christian fell over the weekend to Lincoln Prep, so their season is over. They lost in the semifinals 9-5, though. Congratulations, though, out to DC for a nice season. 2A baseball, Bisbee and Benson are going to play in the state semifinals at Tempe Diablo Stadium on Friday. That'll be at 4 p.m. So a Southern Arizona affair, Bisbee and Benson, Friday at 4. 4A baseball happening right now. CDO is taking on Australia Foothills at Diablo. This is the 4A semifinals. The Dorados have won their way through, so they would need to lose twice. They would need to lose twice in order to not go to the state finals this weekend. So they'll play a game today. If Australia Foothills wins, then they'll play CDO again tomorrow up at Diablo. Tonight also in Mesa, Nogales in 5A is over at Hohokam, the A's complex, against Sunrise Mountain. The Apaches are on the losers of the elimination side of this, so they've got to beat Sunrise Mountain twice to get to the 5A finals. 6A softball now. We'll talk a little bit about softball, what's happening there. Tucson High eliminated last night. They lost 6-3 to Pinnacle. That was a game that went 8 innings. Cienega in 4A is playing tonight up at Papago Park in Phoenix against Willow Canyon. That is an elimination game, and so good luck to the Cienega girls. Now, Micah Mountain also in 4A softball beat Arcadia Tuesday night by a score of 8-1. How about a Prep Princess shout out to Micah Mountain star Aislinn Rose Heston? How's that for a name? That's a diamond name for sure. Aislinn, because she's the pitcher on the team, she struck out 12 in 7 innings, a complete game, and she can swing it. Aislinn Rose Heston hit a grand slam in that game. 8-1. Thunderbolts now are going to play South Point Catholic at Amphi High School tomorrow. They must beat South Point twice to get to the championship game. South Point needs to just beat Micah Mountain once. Micah Mountain coming back through the elimination bracket. So if Micah Mountain wins the first game at Amphi tomorrow, there will be a second game against the Lancers. So some fun there in 4A. Also in 4A, CDO will play the top seed Eastmark tomorrow night up at Papago Park in Phoenix. Eastmark, though, is the team coming back from the elimination bracket, even though they are the number 1 seed. So they'll need to beat the Dorados twice to reach the finals. 1 win for CDO, and those ladies are in the state championship game. And we mentioned yesterday in 3A, 7th seed Empire going to play for a state championship against Valley Christian on Saturday at Farrington Stadium at ASU. So good luck to all of those teams this weekend as they go for state championships. We will review all of that when we get back on the air next week.
So is Aislinn a name given to a daughter of 2 parents who love sports with bats involved, or is that a nickname given to a woman who becomes very good at a sport?
I think that's her name. Yeah, I don't think that's a nickname.
It's good apps naming.
Aislinn is her name,
I mean,
for sure.
To be able to throw that kind of heat on the mound and hit a grand slam.
Yeah. I mean, she's just a 10th grader. How about that? Just a 10th grader doing fabulous things over there as Micah Mountain. Again, we talked about it with Andy Morales yesterday. That program, those programs have come quickly onto the sports scene. I think this is only the 5th year that school's been open, maybe 4th year that it's been open.
Speaking of coming quickly onto the scene, our favorite Wildcat in the playoffs, TJ McConnell, has 8 assists in 11 minutes and is dominating the New York Knicks right now.
He must have heard us talking about how he didn't have any assists.
8 assists in 11 minutes.
Nice.
It's 49-43, 7:53 left in the second. Also, about an hour ago, Nikola Jokic was named MVP of the league for the 3rd time.
79 first-place votes for Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, Shea was second, which Shea and Luka were the only 2 guys really in the conversation.
Shea had 15, Luka 4, and 1 vote for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who did not play in the postseason. The Suns' Kevin Durant got a 5th-place vote. As he was among the people that got votes on those cards. But, yeah, Nikola Jokic, 926 total points, almost 300 points more in voting than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
I didn't see the interview because we were doing our show live at the time, but chatter on the interwebs is that he was very disinterested, DK. Like, he's more concerned about being down 0-2 and getting dominated by the Timberwolves right now.
I would hope so. I would hope that that's got his full attention. His full attention, for sure, being down 2-0. Game number 3, I would imagine, is that tomorrow night, J-Dub, coming up?
I think that's right. They may have a travel day. I'd have to look at the schedule.
Yeah. So, and obviously we've got, you mentioned games going on tonight. We'll update you also on your Diamondbacks, who are trying to win for a 3rd straight game and playing the Cincinnati Reds tonight. They are leading 3-2. That game is in the 8th. They got Paul Sewald into the game last night, and he pitched a scoreless 9th inning. Did give up a walk, but got through it. So Diamondbacks actually just tacked on another run. Eugenio Suarez has hit a home run as we speak. Eugenio Suarez goes deep, so it is now 4-2. D-backs trying to hand the Reds a 7th straight loss.
Is anybody at the ballpark today?
There was not very many people there last night. That's for sure. I don't know how many people are there tonight.
Friday, real quick. Friday is Denver, Minnesota. They got a couple days off, so Joker can go and race some horses or something.
There you go. Jordan Montgomery on the mound tonight for the Snakes. 7 innings, 2 earned runs on 7 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. So a good outing for Jordan Montgomery. All right, again, this is our final show of the week. We will be out tomorrow and Friday, and as well as Monday and Tuesday of next week. So don't look for us, but Brian Jeffries will be here for you. He'll have Arizona Wildcats baseball on Friday morning. It'll be an early start. It's a game that begins at 10 a.m. our time. So a 10 a.m. game on Friday, a 10 a.m. game on Saturday. Coverage will begin at 9:50 on those 2 days. So get up and have your breakfast with Brian Jeffries and the Wildcats and J-Dub on Friday, as he'll be here for that ball game, getting you guys through. And then next week, we'll be back on Wednesday of next week, but it'll be a short show from 3 to 5 because we are going to carry for you the announcement of the National Football League schedule. courtesy of Westwood One, because it's the NFL, and you got to have a program for just about everything.
I think the NFL is the only league to do it because everybody knows, every down matters, every inch matters. Because why? Because the season's really short, DK.
Right.
And so there's no such thing as an NBA schedule release. That would take 17 hours. Same with Major League Baseball. The seasons are too long. That schedule for the NFL is perfect for the hype up, and everybody wants to know who their teams are playing.
A 2-hour broadcast to release the NFL schedule. You'll hear that live here a week from tonight, beginning at 5 o'clock on Wildcats Radio 1290. Before we get out of here, I want to tell you we mentioned our sweet deal for you earlier in the show, Nana's Kitchen. That'll be going on sale at 8:30 a.m. on Friday. So head on over there to Wildcats Radio 1290, a $50 gift certificate for $25. Right now, though, if you head over to wildcatsradio1290.com, I've got a sweet deal for you, a 1-year tuition to St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Catholic School. Normally costs you almost $8,000, $7,600 to be exact. You're going to get that for just under $4,000. Half price, $3,800 right now. 1-year tuition to St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Catholic School. This is a sweet deal. Daily religion classes, a focus on moral, spiritual, and character development. Class sizes are really manageable, about 15, 16 students. These students consistently score above the national average in math, reading, and language. They've got daily enrichment classes, music, art, PE, technology. On the junior high level, there's 3D design and printing. Imagine that. 3D design and printing in junior high school. Multidisciplinary engineering. You can still take Latin as well, if you so choose. St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Catholic School was voted the top middle school at the Southern Arizona Regional Science and Engineering Fair. And if you head over to wildcatsradio1290.com right now, you can send your child to St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Catholic School next year for just $3,800. Normally costs you $8,000.
When I graduated from high school, I went to my counselor at the U of A, and I said I was really interested in getting computer design, computer graphics. And he said, "What is that?" Because back in those days, DK, nobody really knew about it.
Right.
And so to see junior high school kids nowadays having the opportunities to do that's just great.
J-Dub, happy birthday.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
You'll be how old?
I'm going to be 49 years old.
So we got to do this show for another year to get to your party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't really celebrate my birthday, but I probably will in a year and a week.
All right.
50 will be a big one. I'll probably celebrate.
When I come back, we'll go out and I'll buy you a beer or 2 or 3.
And I will buy you a gin and juice.
A gin and juice. We'll start sampling those gin and juice. We might actually. We'll see if Kenny will let us sample those on the air. Probably not. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks to the laundry
list. You just got to turn the camera off, I think.
Thanks to the laundry list of people that we had today. Sam Summerhauser, Talia Martin, Kym Adair, Kym Das, and Coleman Hodges. For JW Madden and Cricket, my name is David Kelly. That's our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bear down, Arizona.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Valencia and Camino de Oeste and Valencia collision clearing. Expect backups on Valencia with restrictions as well. Valencia and Camino de Oeste. Travel on westbound I-10, a little busy at Ruthroff, and also some slowdowns westbound Speedway at I-10. 58 the low with clear skies, 86 sunny tomorrow, and 85 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Chumba Casino.